it's almost like, oh, I want to be in cybersecurity. Why? And
I want to be a cybersecurity analyst. Okay, a cybersecurity analyst doing what? Because there could be many different cybersecurity analysts.
And they don't even know.
Because
they just saw somebody on social media that makes $160,000 a year as a cybersecurity analyst, and that's what they want to be.
Right, and then that's when I say, okay, why you want to do it? Okay, what do you currently do? Well, why not go do this in cybersecurity versus this? I'm like, your skill set, I said, fits more project management, product management. Go do that. You can do that. You can go be a technical product manager in cybersecurity. Why are you going to go waste all this time and try to learn how to code and do this, learn how to do forensics? You ain't got that time.
The Uber driver, she was like, you have to know how to code to be in tech, right? I said, no. There's non-technical roles and there's technical roles. And even the technical roles don't all require coding.
Right.
So people have this misconception.
And now, don't get me wrong, it's helpful if you know how to do it.
Absolutely.
But that's not how you can learn that if you get a job. Like, I'm all for, hey, lower barrier to entry, let's just get us a job. Let's network. Let's get some skills. Let's get the company to pay for our certifications and level up that way versus you trying to do a whole bunch of stuff
in a short period of time.
And then what I run into with clients, and we just start talking about stuff, gripes we have with clients, is some of them don't listen.
They're not
They want to do their own thing.
They're not coachable. Literally, they'll come to you and say, I want to be in a new job in 2 months, and then they don't want to put the effort to get there. And, I think that's something that I was speaking with you about very shortly, but I was saying how a lot of people, it's really important to give assessments. And I know that you do assessments as well. It's important to assess your clients. Like, I have a lot of my clients come in and I really need to understand their personal lives. If I don't understand their personal lives, it's going to be a problem later on down the road because their personal is always going to end up trickling into their professional and the work that we do together. They may not have a lot of time that they make you want to believe that they have, or they may have some other things going on that could ultimately affect their timeline that they have in mind, and it's not realistic. It's really important to sit with your clients and to assess them and know what truly it is that they want, and to make sure that you set expectations.
Definitely. And that's why sometimes I ask my clients, yo, you married, you got a kid, you got a family that's keeping you in the city. Because now we're not seeing as many remote positions.
We're not.
And so I'm like, your location may be directly impacting you finding a job. And so I'm telling them, yo, you might have to move. Or if I'm telling you, hey, we need to apply for some jobs. Like, you cannot be successful if you're not applying to jobs. Or one of my pet peeves is if I make your resume and then I look at it again and you change stuff that I did for you for a reason.
Oh my gosh! And you don't even tell us that you changed something.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't put that on there. Like,
and then you're putting it out there, and then you're like, oh, nothing's happening. Well, it could be because you changed something and you didn't tell us that you changed it.
Yeah, and then I'm asking them, hey, what have you been working on? I have a new client, like every other day he's sending me something. I get it, he want to be in cyber. I'm like, bro, whatever you're working on, like your current skills don't fit that. So I was like, yes, do I think you could do it? But you hadn't shown us anything on paper that you worked on that show us you'll be a good fit for that. So I'm like, let's just stick, like I've been telling them, let's just stick, learn about identity and access management right now. You kind of do some of that stuff now. Let's get a little bit better at it. Let's do some stuff. Or
but they have to stick to it. I feel like a lot of the clients, they're in a hurry. They're trying to go nowhere fast. That's what's going to happen because they're trying to keep up with the Benjamins.
Yeah.
They want what they're seeing on social media, and they're not willing to, like you said, put in the work to get there.
Right. And then I will say I have the benefit of having realistic clients. I do talk to them. I was like, yo, one guy was looking at some role. I was just like, well, you need to, if we do take a role, like I don't want it to not be a role where you can't take care of your family. So we want to make sure if we can at least do it lateral. But I'm just honest with them. Like I have them all record their interviews so I can listen to them and I dissect them. Hey, you said you did a lot of filler words. I was like, just slow down. If you don't know something, just tell me you don't know, but you'll be able to find out the answer. Like most of us Google every day, and we can find out answers.
Absolutely. And also, you can, depending on how you are able to do your interviews, you're able to, still, in a sense, be Googling if you're in the interview. But again, that depends on how fast you work and how your brain operates, right? Because not everybody can do that. So not everybody's a finesser.
Yeah, or you just ask just clarifying questions of what that mean or what is that. Sometimes you may recognize something as something else, and they're saying it a different way. You don't understand it.
Exactly. There's been times when I'll say, actually, I don't have the answer for you right now, but I'm pretty sure as we continue on in this interview, I'll have it for you in about 10 minutes. And then I end up circling back around and I answer the question.
Yeah, I did that. Okay, this was a good question they asked me in the interview. You know what? I'm going to make sure I knock that question out. And so now if they ask me in another interview, I'm going to knock it out. That's why my goal is to get you to keep on interviewing, because we're just going to build.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to take the interview. And even so, if you can't answer a question in your interview, you can always follow up. By the way, it's always important to follow up after an interview anyways. You should be making sure that you send those thank you emails. And in your thank you email, you can say, hey, I remember you asked this question during the interview. And unfortunately, I was so rattled, I wasn't able to give you a response. What I meant to say is, and then say what you were supposed to say in that interview. They'll respect you more and they'll remember you, because a lot of people are not sending follow-up emails.
Yeah, I say sometimes it's like hit or miss. I think sometimes on the company, some companies say, hey, like sending us a thank you really don't matter because we ain't looking at that. So I would say it depends. Some companies like it. I have a thank you letter template that I've used. I think has helped me, because I used to, what I'll do, it's a cheat code. Record your interview, listen back to it, take the notes, draw up your thank you letter, and then gear it towards that person. And that's the way you can do that. A lot of people don't do that. It's like, I promise, one of the simplest tricks. Like, my stuff is simple. Like, I'm a boxing fan. Shout out to Devin Haney. I told y'all Devin Haney was going to beat Regis Prograis because he was overrated and the new. But when you just keep it simple and go back to the basics and the foundations of everything, you're going to always be a good interviewer or a good employee. When you're trying to get too cute and too fancy, that's when you start messing up.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you're thinking about other things that people have told you instead of just sticking to the game plan. I always say interviewing is like marketing, and I really wish that they taught this in school, just like they taught finance, right? We really wish that they taught those things as cores, but you have to be a salesperson for yourself. You have to market yourself, and you really need to practice. That's the only way to get better at interviewing. And I think it also comes down to knowing yourself. There's those individuals that always land the job. Why? Because they know themselves, they're confident, and they're able to speak their truth, and they're able to translate that in something that makes sense to an interviewer. A lot of people get into interviews and they think, oh, I'm being interviewed and it's just me being interviewed. No, you need to interview them. It's not just about having those questions prepared, but you need to be having a conversation as the interview is going on, like you're talking to your friend. That's how you need to look at it. Stop thinking that these interviewers are so superior. It's like when people think that celebrities are so superior. They're humans just like you. They bleed the same way as you. They just got more money. They die the same way as you. They just have more money, or the interviewer is just in a higher position. But trust me, interviewers have to interview at some point too, right? So always remember that it needs to be a two-way street. Have a conversation with your interviewer, and trust me, it will change how your interviewing process goes.
For sure. And one of the things that I was thinking about when you were talking, and I'm trying to think if it's going to come back to me, it was about clients, and I was thinking, I don't know if it was about them being successful, interviewing. It was something I thought about.
It was about being coachable, teachable, no.
Kinda. It was something else. And it'll probably come back to me as we talk. But I think, like you said, I've had clients where, like, so a lot of times we'll work together like exclusively like 3 months, but I'm still helping them throughout whatever they go through.
Right.
And so I tell them like straight up, hey, this ain't gonna be easy. I got people that's got all different type of backgrounds that's doing this. Like people that are more technical, people are not, people that's coming from a different background, but they worked on like a lot of good projects. And I was like, you can do this. You're just gonna have to keep interviewing and get better, and eventually I think you'll land that one.
But some people think they can just interview for like they put their resume out there, it's been 3 weeks. Why am I getting rejections? Why am I not getting jobs? On average, the last time I checked, it takes at least 3 months for somebody to land a new role. And that also means they are very, very, very aggressive with their applying. And I'm not talking about submitting 5 applications a day. I'm not talking about submitting 10 applications a day. I'm talking about these people go over the top to get their applications out there.
Yeah. That's why I tell people, hey, look, go find a recruiter, send them the scripts that I gave you in a note, and if they accept you, the next day follow up, tell them what role you applied to, give them the requisition number, and if they reply, they may say, okay, hey, let's set up an interview. Like, matter of fact, I applied to a gig, I did the screening, but when I found out, because the gig didn't have the salary on there, so I was like, oh, no, that's too low. So I knew friends in my network that probably work for them. And I had them all apply, and I reached out to the recruiter, and she didn't say nothing back. I said, well, here's her email. And this is a tip. Most of the time, you might not reach that recruiter on LinkedIn, but if you got their email, most of them, they're going to see it. And so now most of everybody who I gave the email to, they got a screening coming up.
See?
And so also working with me is not just me helping you, but now you're submersed into my network. People reach out to me all the time, hey, do you know anybody be a good fit? So a friend of mine, they have like an associate or junior security analyst role coming open, and he hit me up. Yeah, you got anybody that's good for this? And I did. And they talked, and he said, yeah, I think he'll be a good fit. It's one of my current clients is pretty much an active fireman, but he has his master's in cybersecurity. He's interned at a SOC and did some other stuff, so he's just trying to make that transition. And I was like, dude, we're going to get there. You just got to keep on keeping on in the fight. Like, you're coming from a different background, but the background that you have is really in line with what you be doing, because you do incident response in the real world. You're going to burning buildings, and you guys got protocols on how you get these people out. Or if you're an EMT, you do all these different things, and you recognize what to do for this patient and that patient. That's how I always explain incident response to people. I say, hey, it's like being